Welcome to another video on smart architectural programming. Today's video is going to do a deep dive review into the famous Harvard CS50 Introduction to Computer Science course. Anybody who has ever tried to research online classes on computer science and beginner classes would be familiar with CS50. If you're not, then please, this is one of the best courses out there that is used by people who want to learn programming for free, cheaply, and at a at a level much higher than available anywhere else. And it is one of the most popular courses that people do. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing my experiences with this course, which is highly rated both in users and generally in the coding community. So the course has been a game changer for many people, including myself, whether they're completely new to programming or they're looking to solidify their existing foundations. So let's dive into what makes CS50 so incredible of a course, its weekly structure, and how it's designed to help you and me think like a computer scientist. Let's move into this video. So first off, what is CS50? That is something that we need to understand. CS50 is a Harvard's entry-level computer science course taught by the amazing Professor David Malan. This course is unique because it's open to online for anyone and it's completely free. It's in-depth, it's rigorous, introduction to fundamentals of computer science, and Harvard has designed it so well that you don't need any prior experience to get started. You'll gradually work your way up from basic concepts to real-world applications. So by the end, you'll have strong understanding of computer science and programming, basically. So if you look at the screen right now, I'm on the CS50's introduction page of their course. It gives a quick introduction into what the course is, what you'll be taught. It would give you an intro video here as well as it would give you the course structure. You'll basically see a lecture. Then it is recommended to watch the section videos, and then it's also recommended to watch the short videos. Otherwise, if you want to be quick about it, you can simply move to this problem sets after each step of this particular course, basically. At the end of the day, some might recommend you to buy an additional edX certificate, but you don't need that verified certificate because Harvard provides you a free certificate at the end of this course on its own. So with that, that's basically what this course is all about. So let's move into step-by-step cover every week of this particular course. It's structured over several weeks, and each week covers a core concept of computer science and programming. Let's look into each week and what we're taught in each of those weeks. On week 0, as you can see on the screen right now, we're moving to week 0. Let the page load. So on week 0, you'll be focusing on concepts like computational thinking, problem solving, inputs, outputs, representations, unary, binary, decimal, ASCII, so on and so forth. All the main concepts that are taught on week 1 are basically written right at the top under the page of that particular week, right? But we also need to remember that we'll be focusing on Scratch on week 1. It's a visual programming language. It's an easy way to understand the logic and flow of programming without needing to type any code. Scratch introduces concepts like loops, conditions, functions in a fun visual way which makes perfect sense for beginners. So that is week 0, right? And with that, we start our journey into CS50. So after that, the next thing is week 1. In week 1, we start with a very, very basic programming language in the 90s, which is the precursor to many modern programming languages, C. Now, the things that you type in C, in conclusion, if you write 15 to 20 lines of C, Python can write that code similar in one line. But the magic of learning C in particular would be that you'll be understanding the significance of modern programming languages, as well as you'll be understand exactly on a very, very basic level how programming languages interact with your PC. That is what you'll understand if you program in C. Other than that, you'll also be focusing on concepts like syntax highlighting, escape sequences, header files, libraries, manual pages, types, conditionals, variables, loops, so on and so forth, and look into integer overflow and floating point in precision. We'll also look into basically how computers really work, and that is how what C would focus on. You'll also learn in this particular week about variables, data types, functions, and building your own first actual programming language. After that, we'll move to week 2. In week 2, we'll cover arrays and memories. So let's move to week 2, see what we'll cover there. So in week 2, you'll be looking into arrays, which are kind of like lists to a degree in Python. And here you'll be covering pre-processing, compiling, and assembling, linking, basically, these processes. So let's dive deeper into what you'll be covering in these weeks. You'll take it up by a notch by looking into arrays and memories. This is where you learn about how data is stored and accessed. It's essential knowledge because it teaches you how to manage data efficiently and effectively when programming programming scripts and projects further down the line. After that, we'll move to week 3. We'll be covering algorithms, how things get more interesting with algorithms. In this week, we learn how to use, about solving problems efficiently, like sorting and searching is introduced here, and as well as the different building blocks of how computers handle vast amount of data, basically. And if we move towards that, that's it. Basically, you'll be looking into sorting algorithms like bubble sort, selection sort, merge sort, and you'll also learn about asymptomatic notation and recursion in this particular week. After that, on week 4, we'll be focusing on memory itself. So in week 4, we'll be focusing on memory, in particular pointers. It builds on our understanding of memories with pointers, a core concept in C. It also tells us that pointers can be tricky, but once you get them, and you'll understand how data moves through in programs and how to optimize your code to handle data better. After that, we'll move to week 5, which is data structures. So if we move to week 5, you'll notice we'll be focusing on something called queues, stacks, linked lists, trees, binaries, binary search tree, hash tables, and tries. So all of these are major data structures that you need to learn ultimately if you want to become a good programmer. Even more than that, these are things that you need to learn if you want to successfully pass a coding interview. So these are very, very important concepts that we'll be focusing on week 5, right, in particular. So you focus on this, understand this, and this is going to be crucial knowledge for solving complex problems and optimizing your code. Similarly, if we move to week 6, we're focusing on Python, and in this week we'll be shifting from our C language to Python, and we'll be relearning everything in the past few weeks that we've learned just now in the context of Python, which will help us understand how important modern coding languages are in our quest to in programming, and how valuable these programming languages are and why they are so popular in the current day and age. After that, we'll move on to week 6.5 potentially, but that's just part of week 6 on Python, and it just adds on and talks about artificial intelligence in particular. Excuse me. So after that, we move to week 7, which is going to be focusing on SQL, basically. Give me a second. Let me open week 7. Yeah, so we'll be working on SQL, or basically, which is databases, right? If you're in crux of it. The language for working with databases. SQL is basically the language that helps us deal with databases. In this particular week, we'll be taught on how we store, retrieve, and manipulate data, skills that are invaluable for web development, data analysis, and any application involving data in computer science. After that, we'll move to week 8, which is basically web programming, right? So here we learn the fundamentals of web development, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? And learn all of these things that we've learned, all these concepts that we learned in C and Python in JavaScript again. HTML and CSS are not more so programming languages, more so of design side elements or front-end elements in programming. And this is very important. This is very, very important. We'll also be taught in this week about TCP, IP, DNS, HTML, and just the fundamentals of how the web works in the current day and age. And after that, in week 9, we'll be taught about Flask and different web applications. We'll dive into Flask, which is a web framework for Python, to create interactive web applications in Flask. We'll connect everything we've learned so far with algorithms, data handling, and web development to build a complete project, basically. And after that, We have week 10, which focuses on cybersecurity. We talked about basically what which is a major issue in the current day and age, which is security of data on the internet, right? So we'll focus on that. We'll learn about brute force attacks, password managers, two-factor authentication, one-time passwords, hashing, so on and so forth, and basically learn the fundamentals of cybersecurity in computer science, right? With that, we'll be focusing on our final project, which would have us build a complete software and solve a real world problem that we're facing with all that we have learned. After we do that, we'll be able to get our certificate and finally clear the CS50 course, basically. So after that, the significance, we need to focus on the significance and purpose of the course structure. You need to understand that each week helps us build directly on what we have learned previously, which keeps us challenged, but it never overwhelms us until we don't do things bit by bit. We start from scratch, then we move to C, then we Python, SQL, web programming, and this progression makes sense. We get to see both low-level mechanics and high-level applications of computer science. This matters because by the end of this course, you're not just following along, you're actually thinking like a computer scientist. The course teaches you to break down problems, think critically, and write efficient and logical code. At the end of the day, we need to remember that CS50 is just not a course out there. It gives us incredible support, basically. It has a community around this course, basically. And this is a huge community. And as well as the fact that teaching assistants are very, very active on these communities to help solve your problems, basically. Harvard has also provided us with detailed walkthroughs, notes, and videos and tutorials for each problem set. So if you ever feel stuck, you're not alone. You can tap into this community, tap into the learning resources, and you can solve this problem. At the end of the day, I mentioned the final project earlier as well. Basically, it is one of the highlights of the CS50 course because this is where you bring everything together to build something unique, whether that's website, game, or data application. The project is your chance to apply all you've learned and showcase your skills and get creative. So that's Harvard CS50 in a nutshell. It's immersive, challenging, extremely rewarding course that is designed to transform beginners into confident problem solvers and coders. If you're serious about understanding computer science or want a structured way to build your coding skills, CS50 is absolutely worth checking out. Thanks so much for watching. If you have taken the course or have any questions, drop them in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more content on learning and tech. Until next time, I am signing out. Thank you.